Welcome to PartsWatch training on multi-store ordering. There's two methods of multi-store ordering on PartsWatch as of the 57 release: distributed and consolidated. The consolidated method creates a single order with all the order quantities combined for all stores, and all stock is received into the hub store that created the order. The other stores can then create orders against the hub store. With the distributed method, placing the order creates POs in each store that had a part on the original order. When the order in the originating store is received, transfer sales orders are automatically generated in that store to transfer stock to other stores, rather than increasing the quantity on hand in the originating store. And receiving the orders per store updates the stock in the stores. So in this video, we'll look at the distributed order method. A default setting named Multi-Store PO Type on the Controls Store Information screen under the Purchasing tab can be set to distributed or consolidated per store. And an override default per vendor is found on the Vendor Order Specific screen. And however it's set for either, the default can be changed at the time of PO creation from the Create PO screen, but not from the older Purchase Order Profile entry screen. So let's go to the ordering screen and create a distributed order. We'll enter the supplier, and I'm only ordering a few parts to make it easy, and pick the stores and make sure it's a distributed order, and I'm going to ignore on-order values for this demo, and click order. It's just a regular multi-store shelf order and looks the same as any shelf order. But when you double-click an order quantity, a window opens showing the vendor, PO reference number, PO status, and line and part on the order. And it also shows the current and new total order quantity and the current and new total received, damage, overshort, and cancel quantities. But these are used for order receipt. And the grid displays the store numbers, the order quantities, and all of the columns that were selected in the Create Edit layout, and lists individual store order quantities that make up the order. Only stores that have an order quantity are listed in the grid. So even though the order was created in Store 7, since Store 7 had sufficient quantity, it's not listed for this part. And if you want to order a part for a store that isn't on the list, right-click the part and select Write in a new part, and a pop-up will let you select the store and the quantity to order if you have security permissions to access other stores. And there's our new row added to the order. And the displayed part can be transferred between stores using the Transfer Parts functionality, but that's another video. So edit the order quantity per part in the Edit Purchase Order pop-up as needed, and then, assuming all the order quantities are correct, let's finalize the PO and place the order. The Transmit button on older releases has been replaced with the Place Order button. So click the Place Order button, and the system automatically pushes orders to the individual stores with their parts from the order, following existing order-to-invoice background functionality. And the vendor record in the ordering store must have a valid transmit record set up. And just so you know, a setup on the store information screen displays or doesn't display the transmit record when an order is sent. The main part entry screen shows the on-order quantities for all stores, and a field named My Quantity displays the on-order quantity from the current store as soon as the Place Order button is pressed. So technically the parts are ordered, so these fields are updated with the quantities from the order for each store, even though the purchase orders aren't available for the secondary stores in the purchasing screen yet. And in order to keep from inflating order quantities on additional replenishment orders for the primary store, the value in the My Quantity field is used when a shelf order is created after a distributed order has been created for the same vendor, and the Ignore On Order value is unchecked during PO creation. So now let's receive the order. If you receive by ASN or scan receive, check F1 Help for the allocation rules used to receive the parts. But for this lesson, we'll manually receive it, and we'll start by opening it in the PO detail screen and clicking the Set Received Quantity button. And either click the Full Order Quantity button so that the received quantity for each store is set to its order quantity, or click the Set to 0 button to set the received quantity for each store to 0. If a row is double-clicked before the Set Received Quantity button is clicked, both the receive and cancel quantities are view-only. So let's set it to full quantity and double-click the order quantity, received, damaged, overshot, or canceled field to edit the quantities as needed. The inbound can be edited from the PO detail screen, and the order quantity can be edited after transmission only if the Allow Edit After Transmit flag is checked for the vendor. So edit the received, canceled, damaged, or overshort quantities as needed. But if the Save Backorder flag is unchecked, then the cancel quantity is not editable. The same totals that display during order edit display for order receipt. Each store with an order quantity for the part displays, and the right-click menu lets you add a store with an associated order quantity, the same way we did it for the order edit, and then edit the received quantities as needed. The received quantity can be greater or less than the order quantities are updated for the part, and the Edit PO screen closes for selection of the next part. The original order remains in the originating store with the full quantity for all stores. Open the PO info screen to see additional information on the PO, including the multi-store order type. And a new multi-store report is available before and after the order is placed and can be sorted by line, part, or store, and can output only those stores with order quantities, all stores, or only those where order quantities are zeroed out. And when all received quantities are correct, click the Receive button to receive the order in the originating store and to trigger a sales order for each secondary store with parts on the order. These documents will print either as invoices, so that a finalized invoice prints for received quantities for each secondary store, or PICs, so that PIC tickets print for received quantities for each secondary store based on the distributed PO routing document setting on the store information screen. And if you're using the PartsWatch standard invoice form, multi-store distributed PO and the PO number displays in the body footer section of the form. When the transfer invoice is finalized in the originating store, orders are created in the secondary stores on the fly when the ASN arrives from the originating store. The PO number begins with T for transfer, the order status is ASN, the ASN number and ASN date are populated, and the vendor reply is set to confirm for all purchase orders in the other stores, and these POs can then be received. Right-click the order in any secondary store transfer PO that's linked to the originating store's distributed PO, and the last menu item displays the multi-store distributed PO number and vendor code, but it's grayed out and is for information only. And that's it for multi-store distributed orders. If you have questions, please check F1 Help or contact customer support for assistance. And thank you for joining us.